What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about crowdfunding, and specifically today, I want to get into really how do you validate a new business idea. If you have an idea for a business and you want to get this out there, and you also want to do it in a smart, scientific way where you're validating that business idea, the potential of that idea, because at the end of the day, we all only have so much time in our lives. And maybe we do come up with a really cool product idea, a really interesting business idea, but how do you know you should actually spend the next couple of months or the next couple of years investing into that potential of the idea, and at the same time also building your own potential, which is kind of one of my visions or one of the kind of values that I have at my company, CrowdCrux. So we're talking about that today. How do you actually do this? Getting down to it, breaking it apart, demystifying it for you, and it's coming up right after this. All right. So I have worked with many different companies over the years since 2012, bringing new products and new businesses into existence, literally from scratch. And I've obviously also built my own companies, and it's one of the most exciting kind of endeavors, which is to be an inventor, a creator, an artist, to be an entrepreneur, to bring something new into the world and to make money at it. To me, it just feels like magic. Like, it feels like it's so cool to be able to have that kind of a lifestyle, or to help other people as well realize their dreams, realize their potential, and impact the world for the positive. So the way to do this smartly, scientifically, intelligently is to validate your business idea. So let's kind of get into a couple of different easy ways in which you can do that. Every product, every business, every organization, every company solves a problem. So I want you to really view that through this lens, right? So like everything that we're talking about today, whether this is the techniques or the strategies or the tools, you're really viewing this all through the lens of how am I evaluating the degree to which my solution actually solves this problem, and also the need of this problem. Who experiences this problem? To what degree do they care about this problem? Because I'm telling you, there are a lot of problems in my lives, but I don't value all of them the same. Some of them I value much more because they either take more time, or they're more headache, or they're more pain, right? And if there's a problem that solves that in a better way than an existing product that I have or an existing service that I'm using, then I'm likely to evaluate that and even potentially make a purchase decision. The second caveat before we get into today's video is that you need to think about this through the scientific method. So the scientific method is one of the most incredible thought tools of our generation, and also I'd say of entire human history, right? This allows us to actually evaluate from a non-biased standpoint data, analytics, conclusions, and really allows us to draw assumptions about the real world. When there's no books on this, like I try to write books, right? I've written 10 books on different subjects in business. I try to explain things, make them easier, demystify, but I'll be honest with you, sometimes there aren't any books on a subject. Sometimes there aren't any podcasts. I was the guy who had to start the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast to share this with other people, right? Same thing when it comes to my blog. I started my blog in 2012. No one else was writing about crowdfunding and sharing the secrets and the techniques that were happening behind the scenes to get these campaigns funded. Sometimes there is no book. There is no mentor. There is no one who can actually guide you throughout this process. And that, my friends, is when you rely on the scientific method. So the first two vocabulary words I'd like you to write down if you are taking notes is number one, hypothesis, and number two, assumptions. And they're kind of interchangeable. Hypothesis is just what you think is going to happen. The assumptions that you have about a particular product, about a particular audience, about pricing, about competitors, about all the different things that kind of comprise your market or the business idea, your business model. I have a hypothesis, or I have an assumption, right, that this business model is going to be profitable, or I'm going to be able to spend enough money on marketing and ads to be able to make this company work. Or my assumption is that people are not happy with their current existing solutions for these reasons, and I'm going to introduce a new solution into the marketplace, and I'm going to see and verify, is this something that customers want to exist? So the first part in really assessing whether or not a business idea is any good and really deciding if there's actually validation is to write down all of those assumptions which you have about the various aspects of the business. Like I mentioned, the product, the price, assumptions that you have about why people would buy it, the degree to which they value this particular problem, other solutions they tried, why it is that they might switch to yours, the business model, the marketing. Write down as many assumptions as you can. Literally just grab a blank sheet of paper, write down all of these assumptions which come to your mind, which are basically uncertainties. And what you're going to do is you're going to systematically go through and you're going to actually kind of cancel out each of these, or by conducting different marketing experiments or getting feedback or some of the stuff we'll talk about later, really getting the answers and filling in the gaps. That way you have a much more complete picture of reality and doing this in a much more scientific way. The second way to validate a business idea, and arguably I think this is actually one of the best ways to do it, is to actually go out there and to look at consumer data when it comes to how big is the marketplace for this particular idea. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, how many people are actually searching for a solution nowadays? So the way you can do that is through Google Trends. You can also do that through Google search engine queries. You can actually go and you can see via keyword searches, what is the actual search volume of people searching online for a particular solution or in a particular industry. I use this technique myself a heck of a lot when I'm helping out different marketing clients, digital marketing clients, when we're helping them with their business, when we're helping them with their marketing, right? This way you can actually see what percentage of people are searching on a monthly basis for this particular solution. It can give you a very quick idea of how big the market potential is. Now, of course, the market is going to be bigger than just Google search engine queries, right? But what it does is actually gives you a level of demand when it comes to people that are actually searching out this particular problem and also solutions to that problem. The next task I want you to do, and I really want you to view yourself as a scientist here, and we're almost doing like a reconnaissance mission, right? Or we're kind of studying these human subjects and trying to get more information and understanding, really at the end of the day to help them, right? I want you to go and I want you to create a Google document, or it could be an Excel document. There's so many different ways in which you can organize this particular process, which I talk about with my coaching students, really leveling up their potential in that way, and many other ways, strategically, tactically, and how to actually build a business from scratch. So what I want you to do is I want you to go out there and I want you to evaluate some of the competitor services, but I want you to use a very unique technique, which is I want you to actually record all of the 4, 3, and 2-star reviews that you can find online, whether that's on Yelp, Google reviews, Amazon reviews, whatever kind of service or product you have. Do as much research as you can, read through the different articles. I want you to evaluate and kind of cobble together all the different 4, 3, and 2-star reviews, because those reviews honestly tend to be the most honest. The ones that are number 5 are like a fanboy or someone who's like obviously super bought into a product. Number 1 is just a disgruntled customer. 2, 3, and 4-star reviews will give you an actually accurate measure of what people like about a particular service, company, product, and also what they need to improve on. And that will allow you to think a little more clearly by validating this business idea, the service, or the product idea, and put it through that lens. The next way to validate a business idea is to take a look at the competitors, and more importantly, take a look at the market size, the market share of these different competitors. What size or portion of the market do they actually own? How big is the overall target market? If you need to do some research, go to the library, even purchase a white paper or two, right? Really get as much data as possible that you can fill a business plan with, or they can fill a pitch deck if you're going after investors at some point in time. And that way you can get a more realistic idea of the size of the market or the payoff potential. What percentage of the market size do you need to capture for this really to be worth your time, for this really to be something that you focus on for the next months or the next years of building a business from scratch, getting a new solution out there or a new product? Is it really worth it or not? The next way, and I know this sounds so freaking basic. I hate it. Like sometimes I'll be listening to a video or watching, something online or reading through an article. I'm like, this is so basic. But when I actually take a second to stop and actually use the strategy or use the techniques or go through this process of what I call a thought model, okay, of actually going through a way of thinking about a process in a step-by-step fashion, all of a sudden I realized that I actually discovered new information that I wasn't aware of. Or just by basis of going through this particular step-by-step way of thinking through a problem, I come to new conclusions that I didn't even imagine were possible. So while something might seem basic, I do think it's extremely useful. What I want you to do is I want you to really write down who is your ideal customer. Who is the target customer? How old are they? What other products might they be interested in? What hobbies might they be interested in? What's their disposable income like? How much are they willing to spend on these particular solutions in other areas of their life or with competitor products, right? How long is it taking them to make a decision? Where are they discovering these products? Which channels? Is it via social media? Is it via print advertising, right? Is it via they're driving down the road and they see an actual actual physical banner, right, which lets them know about a particular product or a particular service, really get very crystal clear about creating your ideal customer profile. And this is so incredibly important for every business owner, but it's also something that marketers like myself and salespeople like myself, in terms of setting up a sales department or a marketing department in a company, we do this anyway. We're always going to write down the ideal customer profile when it comes to the marketing, so that way we can create targeted marketing campaigns with my digital marketing agency, or we do the same thing with my sales department, right? We're going to write down a very targeted ideal customer profile, so that way we can understand the people that we are trying to help and who we can't help with our services or with our products. So very important, write down your ideal customer profile and also the target market itself overall when it comes to evaluating this business idea. The next one, and I think this takes a lot of gumption, I will say. I think there's another way of saying this on YouTube, but I didn't really want to get flagged by the YouTube algorithm, but it takes some gumption, if you know what I mean. So what really I'm talking about is being willing to go out there and to talk to people. I know, it's scary, right? Like going out there talking to other human beings. It's almost like that same level of fear that you get when there's like a pretty girl, right, in the room, and you have to actually go out there, go to the bar and talk to her. It's so scary, right? But when you do it, you realize, wow, it actually wasn't that scary. It wasn't that big of a deal. And you feel like a boss for having done it afterwards, right? So this is what I mean by it's like actually going and talking to potential consumers. I have a great YouTube video or a podcast out there with Quilby, and this guy was actually one of my coaching students who raised 5 figures with a Kickstarter campaign. And one of the things that he did initially was he went to the mall. He went to his local mall and he had this product with him, and he started to just ask customers, potential customers rather, about the product. What did they experience when it comes to the problem in their lives? Did they value the solution? What did they think about it? What were their thoughts when they started to learn more about the functionality and the benefits? What would they think when it comes to a price point? Where might they find this? Which store would they imagine they would buy this at, right? He literally just went out there to the mall, and you can hear this on the podcast, and this guy is awesome, right? He literally just went out there to the mall and started to talk to people, to interview them. And he had a clipboard as well of a series of questions which you could ask them, which is to evaluate their making sure it was sort of like a standardized test, right? Rather than just kind of trying to remember and struggle to remember those different questions. He really systematized it with a series of prompts. He did this as well, going out there, being willing to do that and talk to people and gather a heck of a lot of data from real people, real potential consumers, real potential customers. This is, in my opinion, one of the best ways in which you can evaluate a product idea. Now, I got a solution for you if you are a little bit shy, maybe you don't want to do that, or you value your time and you're like, you know what, Sal, I don't have time to do this. Like I have another business or I got a job and I just can't go out there and start talking to people for hours on end at a mall, right? You're like, I can't do that, Sal. Or you go, Starbucks or something like that. If that sounds like you and you're willing to invest a little bit in speeding up this process, there's a great tool out there called Feedback Jack. And you can actually use this tool to get real-time feedback on a product, on an idea, on a series of questions, and you can get people nationwide to do this for you. And you can literally just buy more credits and you can get more replies and more responses, and it's extremely affordable. So to me, this is an incredible tool. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife, if you will, that if you want to, throughout the entire process of running a business, or if you're getting feedback on the product or the service or your marketing or the idea or whatever it is, you can go to Feedback Jack and you can get tons of easy feedback from that in a matter of minutes, right? You actually get to see people's real world answers, real individual vetted human beings giving their honest feedback. There's nothing like that, and it's the same effect as if you were to do this in person. So if you want to speed that up, go and check out this link down below at Feedback Jack. I'll include a link down below. And also I am partnering on this website with someone else when it comes to their development. So that is something as well that you should know. However, this is something I've been looking through extensively, and I saw this, I'm like, we gotta bring this to the audience. So I hope that it's useful for you. The next way to validate a business idea is to run a crowdfunding campaign for it. So many people come to me and they're like, Sal, I got this incredible idea when it comes to a product you have never heard, something like this. This is an incredible invention. And I say, great. Let's see what people think, right? Let's do a Kickstarter campaign. Let's do an Indiegogo campaign, or you can raise capital for it doing an equity crowdfunding campaign. You can put this out there and people can pre-order this, right? They can back it. And if you hit your funding meter, you get all those funds and it's deposited straight into your bank account. And then you actually go out there and you create that product. You go out there and you ship out that product to those people. So crowdfunding is an incredibly powerful way where if you're just in that early stage of maybe having a prototype or a product or an idea, right? And you really want to get to that next stage, you can use crowdfunding not only to get people's thoughts and feedback on the actual product when you ship it out to them, but also to raise the funding necessary to get that and commercialize that particular product. And the cool thing about this is that so many people will build a business from scratch using crowdfunding because it validates the idea, and then all of a sudden they can sell more products and more products to these customers who discover them on a crowdfunding website. The final way that I want to talk about on this video, and I wasn't really even going to cover this because this is kind of like a secret and not a lot of people are doing this, but you can actually do something what's called a pre-launch, okay? And you can actually see, are people willing to buy the product? So what do I mean by that? What do I mean? I mean that instead of just, for doing a pre-launch for a crowdfunding campaign is a very traditional process. I talk about this in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. I talk about this in my course as well. I talk about this with all of my coaching students, the importance of doing a pre-launch campaign so that way you can build a massive waitlist or a tribe of people that are hanging on your every word, that are excited about this new product and are willing to buy it when you actually come out with it. And this is a proven and tested process that I've been talking about, I think since 2013 or 2014, for a very long time, and the ways in which that has evolved as well. So you can learn about that on your own time. But one of the cool things about this is that if you actually want to, what you could do is you could run a test campaign. And I do this with all of my different digital marketing agency clients. This is one of the ways in which we discover what is the best headline, what are the best ads, what's the best copy, what's the best marketing channels, all that kind of stuff. And what you could do is you could run a series of ads, okay, on Facebook, Instagram, or wherever, on TikTok, wherever you want to run these ads, right? You can drive that traffic to a landing page. On that landing page, there's a little bit of information about the product, maybe some photorealistic renderings, maybe even the product itself, some photos of that. Or if it's a service, if it's a business, something like, for example, a service-based business, a real estate company, a software company, a technology company, whatever it is, a mom and pop store, you can have a dummy landing page showing exactly what that service is, the benefits, the functionality, all of that kind of stuff. And what you can do is you can send people to this page and you can measure and see, do people sign up? Are they willing to buy it? Are they clicking to learn more information? Maybe the business doesn't exist yet, right? Maybe it literally is just that landing page. But what you can do is once people actually provide that information or say, hey, I want to make a purchase, after that, you can have another screen which says, hey, we are actually just testing here, but we're going to be launching this business very soon. Thank you so much for mentioning your support, or thank you so much for indicating that you're interested in having this exist. Leave your name and email if you want to find out when we actually do launch. And by the way, for being a great sport, we're going to give you this percentage off when we do launch, right? So you could do this special technique that isn't talked about very much. You could validate your business idea, whether that's a business in software, business in real estate, a physical product business, a consulting company, a coaching company, a mom and pop store, whatever it is. And you can use this technique to actually gauge real world demand and see in real time. You can literally record the user sessions. You can see, will people buy it? Will people sign up? Are people actually interested? And my gosh, there's no other better way, aside from what I would say, Feedback Jack, as a way to actually get feedback. That is probably the only other way that I recommend as kind of like a secret bullet when it comes to this process. All right, man, I actually got to hop on a podcast right now, but I did want to record this video for you, and I kind of wanted to put this out there because I feel like there's not a lot of good content on this. So if you did enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up and let me know. Come subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this. I'm cranking them out every single week for you guys. I also obviously do individual one-on-one coaching for business owners, for creators, for inventors, for people who want to take their life to the next level, as well as their career to have more financial freedom, and really to launch a new crowdfunding campaign. I would say crowdfunding is my specialty, but honestly, I've been working with a lot of new business owners as well, a lot of people as well who are starting new companies, people that are interested in upgrading their marketing and their sales tactics, and in addition, people that are creating products from scratch. So go down below, learn more about my individual coaching calls at crowdcrux.com/coaching. And if you are interested in learning more about how we can work with you, we do work on a selective basis. You can visit my website, crowdcrux.com. We do get a lot of inquiries there. So I do also talk talk about this sometimes with individual coaching students if it's something that we both feel like aligns when it comes to our visions and how we kind of want to help the world and our values and those kinds of things. But regardless of that, I got some other great free content down below, and I also have a great YouTube channel which you can dive into, sink your teeth into, and start watching some great content, as well as my podcast. Thank you again. My name is Salvador Briggman, and if you do nothing else this week, if you do nothing else, take some action, man. Take some action, whether that's getting access to the right information, reading, becoming a student of this, or just even being willing to, incorporate this into your life. Spend an hour after work and really buckle down and, think more through the idea, or write this down, get this out of your head, or whatever it is next. Right? Take the next step. That's the most important thing. As long as you're making progress, I'm happy. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.